We're joined here today at Reaping the Harvest with J.B. Maddamma. He's the director of music here at Harrvestime Apostolic Temple, and his beautiful wife, Cindy. So tell us your story.
On Thanksgiving night, we dropped off some food to a few friends of Cindy's at work, and we were there for a short time, and we just headed back home, and I think it was around 7 p.m. It was dark out. There was just no traffic on the road, but we just kind of were going on our way, and all of a sudden, Cindy just screamed out of nowhere. I didn't see anything going on, and after the scream, it was just an instant thud, an extremely violent collision, and the next thing I knew, we were sliding across the road, and all of a sudden, just began to flip and roll in our van. And I was strapped in pretty tight and not moving except for realizing that we were flipping all the way around. And I kept waiting for the next thud. I kept expecting that it was just going to end with a little bit more of a crash. But thankfully, there was no one else on the road there at that point, and we finally came to a stop. We weren't sure how many times we rolled and how far down, until afterwards, how far down the road we had actually gone.
And for me, only thing I remember, I seen it from the corner of my eye, a white SUV, and all I could say was Jesus. And we were flipping, and I didn't have my seatbelt on. And I just remember I was flipping all through the whole van, and I flew out the window. And I remember I didn't think I was going to make it at the time. When I landed, I just seen white. So it's very scary.
And Cindy, what were your first thoughts?
Well, the funny thing is I was looking around for my phone instead of worrying about me, and I was yelling for JB, and the first thing I thought about was just if I'm gonna get to talk to my kids one more time, and I was basically in shock looking for my phone, and I looked up and I seen a guy walking towards us, and the first thing I asked him was, "Do you have a phone?" And I think he thought that was pretty strange. My dad is a pastor of Harrvestime Apostolic Temple, and he was away at conference, and I used this gentleman's phone to call him, and it was a miracle. He answered because it was during church time. And I think I probably freaked them out a little, but we were just in a major accident, and we flipped about 3 or 4 times, and I flew out the side of the van. My dad had everybody pray for us at the conference, and we were just so amazed of all the love and support that we got from all over the world.
Well, God had already gotten us through that terrible collision, and I was just waiting on Him to stay with us and bring us through the rest of the way. It was good to know at that point that Cindy was able to get a hold of Mom and Dad, and that they were already, undertaking the group prayer. There must have been, that being at the national conference, there were probably about 5,000 people that all of a sudden were helping us through that situation through prayer. And they had told Cindy before they hung up that they were going to get right back home as quick as they could.
I don't know if it was the longest ride to the hospital ever, just laying there on the cot and they're asking me all these questions. Who's the president? And I'm trying to think, I don't know who's what. I just want to know if I'm going to be okay. But made it there and had to go through a lot of different tests.
And the rough part right there was that we couldn't even ride in the same ambulance, and they took Cindy off first because she was worse off. They had found out that she had been thrown from the van. How she got thrown clear of the van, just beside the van, and didn't end up under it was another miracle in itself. But after they took her, another ambulance came up and said that they were going to take me to a different hospital. And so I was insistent, and I got enough guys on my side that they decided we could all go to the same hospital. I wasn't going to go to a different place than where they had just taken Cindy.
It was a experience in itself. They're trying to check and see if anything's broken, and they're hooking me up already. It was kind of scary because they were hooking me up on all the heart shockers, or I don't even know what you call them. But yeah. And then I realized that I was bleeding from my side. I had a stick that was pierced through on my right side, and they were going to not pull it out until we got there. And they were more or less worried about internal injuries, and they were talking a different language to me. And I was just asking, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? That's all I wanted to know.
What are some of the challenges you faced since the accident? You know, like nightmares or flashbacks or anything like that?
I have a few challenges. When I go by the scene, especially, I beep my horn non-stop when I'm passing that street. It sounds crazy, but that's what I do. My kids get upset with me, but I don't know, it's still scary for me. I do get some night terrors sometimes, not all the time, but when I do, I hate reliving, so it's very hard for me.
The main difficulties that I've had since the accident were a little bit of physical problem with my back, because my back wasn't that great to begin with, and so that kind of caused some more complications there for my back. But overall, I think what people don't realize is and what you're getting at is the emotional effects of that kind of thing, because not only do you physically take a beating, but maybe it's because your brain kind of gets knocked around in your head when you're rolling around, but all of your capabilities, what I guess what it does is it kind of tinges how you think about things. It does put everything in a new perspective.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story with us today. I know it was a difficult thing to relive, but also a victorious thing to relive. And there are members in the audience and the viewing audience who will appreciate this story and find strength. You know, a lot of times we go through things and we don't realize how it affects other people in their lives. It's our testimony, but it helps them overcome some of the obstacles they're facing too. To know that God is in control no matter what you're going through, no matter what you face. You can always realize and be reassured that God does have His hand on you.